Guys and girls, welcome back to Watch the Time. Thanks for tuning back in. Thanks for coming back to see me. I'm really pleased to be able to bring you another Tandorio. It's been some time actually since I featured a Tandorio watch. I featured one of the early ones when they first sort of appeared on AliExpress. Since then they've done bits and they do offer some unbelievable value for money watches. This one you'll see is one that's been doing the rounds in terms of the style of watch it's homage in. I won't talk about the watch it is, you'll all probably know at this point. But this one, I've not seen one for like £60 if I'm being honest. This one's got the Seiko NH35 movement. You can get other movements as well. I went for the one that was the most cheapest, if you like. But it does look the business. Few different colour variations to choose from. But £60 for what you're getting, or potentially getting, looks exceptional value for money. So I really wanted to get this in. So hopefully by the time we get to the end of the video, you know if it's for you or not, so you can make an informed decision. If it is, please use the link in the description. It's an affiliate link, but it doesn't cost you any more. Just makes your life a bit easier. But thanks for tuning back in. I do appreciate all your love and support. And with that being said, let's get the camera turned around and get on with it. Hi guys and girls, so this is the watch. Nothing special about the packaging. You don't normally get that with Tandorio, but they're so inexpensive. Out of cardboard box. In a box, again, nothing special. It just comes with inner foam. It comes wrapped in this bit of plastic as well. Hang tag on there, instruction manual, and yeah, inner foam, as I mentioned. Very, very primitive packaging. But again, I think for what you're getting in terms of the price, you can't really expect much by way of packaging. And I've always said, and I'll always will say, for inexpensive watches, I'd much rather the money be spent on the watch, to be perfectly honest, and that is definitely the case with this watch. So yeah, this is the Tandorio. Excuse the AR coating, guys. You'd have seen in my sort of macro shots, even when I do the dial stuff, you'll see I've had to change the lighting just because it just plays havoc with the watch itself, but I'll do my best. But yeah, no AR coating to speak of on this watch, and when you've got a dome crystal, that's always going to be a nightmare. But you'll clearly see where the watch has taken inspiration from, so I'm not going to talk about that. It didn't come with a model number. I'm just calling this Tandorio Diver for obvious reasons. I do not like to mention watches that they're homaging. It's just not worth the hassle that it can cause. See, there we go. So this is Tandorio. A few different color variations to choose from. Actually, I'll bring those up now. I like the black. Most people will go for the white, but yeah, like I did with like I did with the Proxima, I really wanted to get the sort of darker colors in just to see what they look like, and I think they look really, really cool. So yeah, there's the other colors variation to choose from anyway. Inside, it's running an automatic Seiko NH35 movement. I'll bring some information up about that movement now. Rugged, reliable, 24 joules, 21,600 beats per hour, 41-hour power reserve. As I've said many times, there's a good reason they use these movements in watches. I would always rather see the no date variant in no date watches, but when they're so inexpensive, I've got to the point now where I'm not too bothered. It's not a massive hardship. You just pull it out a little bit further than you would usually, and it doesn't tend to pose any problem. So yeah, NH35 movement inside. So there you go. The construction of the watch, aside from the crystal and the bezel insert and the strap, is 316L stainless steel. So the top of the lugs are brushed to quite a thick polished edge, brushed at the sides, polished on the side of the crown, good knurling on the crown actually. Even with gloves on, it's very, very easy to unscrew. Like I said, brushed at the sides. The case back is brushed. The case back's very, very common in terms of the case backs they offer, because I've had a couple of watches now, very, very similar in terms of what they do, and just with some information. On the back, the pin buckle clasp is 316L stainless steel, all polished, not in keeping really with the rest of the watch, but there we go. So that's that. We'll go through the other bits in just a moment. The case thickness of the watch is 13.4 millimeters. The case diameter, I normally measure from the 8 to the 2, because that's generally where the crown isn't on watches. It's coming at 40.2, and when you go from 9 to the 3, including the crown, obviously when it's screwed up, it comes in at 43.2 millimeters. The lug width on this is 20, and the lug to lug, tip to tip, it's coming at 47.9 millimeters. So for a dive watch like this, I think that's a real sweet spot in terms of the dimension. 40mm case diameter, 13mm thickness, 20mm lug width, or just under 48 in terms of lug to lug. So yeah, good proportions there, guys, in terms of how it's going to fit your wrist, in my opinion. The bezel is 120 click unidirectional bezel, and compared to another Tandorio I had in, this bezel is a huge improvement. No bounce, no back play, lines up pretty well, to be honest. Ceramic on the outer edge, and it looks like stainless steel on the inner, but that's what it looks like anyway. I couldn't find any further information, but that's what I'm going to go with. So there we go. The crown is screwed down, it's at the 3 o'clock position, but comes away from the case nicely, nice to engage with, easy to screw up and unscrew and stuff. So there we go. The case back, as I showed you a moment ago, is screwed down also. I do like it when it's got these nodules, makes it very easy to take on and off if you wish to do so. So yeah, that's the case back. As I said, it's on, I didn't say previous, so it's on a rubber strap, very comfortable rubber actually. So there we go, pin buckle clasp is unsigned, high polished on there, as I showed you just a moment ago. The crystal covering the dial is a sapphire crystal. I've already spoke about it a little bit already. No AR coating. It's just going absolutely bonkers, isn't it? And this is a theme with Tandorio watches from the ones I've had so far. So yeah, sapphire crystal. The water resistance is cited as being 200 meters. So that'll give you 20 atmospheres of water resistance, and the weight will appear in the top right. It's just above 90 grams. So yeah, good proportions there, guys, in my opinion. So there we go. But let's have a look at the dial now, guys, in just a little bit more detail. So you've got quite a pronounced sort of gap where a rehaut would be, but there isn't one. You've got a minute track going around the outer edge to make it easy to sort of set the time. I do like it when there's a minute track. Otherwise, for me, when I'm trying to set the time, I've got to wait every 5 minutes, which is a nuisance. Nothing's been applied onto the dial. It's all printed on. You'll see you've got a batten everywhere, 12, 3, 6 and 9. You've got a double circular batten either side of the batten at the 12 o'clock position. You've got longer sort of elements for every 5 minutes, and inside of that you've got a circular sort of batten, if you like. So there we go. The loom on this is reasonable, to be honest. I was actually not expecting much. I'd even say it's pretty good. Like I said, the previous Tandorio I had, the loom wasn't good at all, so that was a very pleasant surprise. So I'll bring the loom up now so you can have a look. What do you think, guys? As I've said, it's not amazing, but for the watch and compared to the loom I had previously on a Tandorio watch, pleasantly surprised. So there we go. It's a matte black dial, which I appreciate is quite hard to see given the AR coating on it. You can get it with the Tandorio logo written just below the 12 o'clock position. I've opted for it to be sterile. Don't really like the name, and I don't think this style of watch needs to have anything at the 12. You've got 200 meters equals 660 feet in red writing above the 6, and automatic just below that, just denoting the fact it's an automatic movement inside the watch. As I said, an NH35 movement inside. If you take it out, it will hack. You'll see. You see the hands. They are sort of not really. They're sort of like darker hands. I don't know if they'd be better being a bit higher polished, so it's easier to see. But there we go. But yeah, you take the crown out to the second position, it will hack. You put it back in, it will start back up again. Given it's a date watch, as a ghost position, but as I said, I'm not really talking about that anymore. There you go, hacks when you take it all the way out. Turn it away from you when it's in the position when you unscrew it from the case. You can hand wind it to add some charge, and if you push it in and turn it the same way as you do to charge it, it will screw back up again. And that is the watch, really, guys. Like I said, a black bezel insert, silver inside that. You got minutes and hours. I don't know how you, that's obviously hours, I'm trying to pronounce it differently, but yeah, that's what you have, and it's looking pretty cool, isn't it? But anyway, let me just pop it on the wrist quickly, guys, give you an idea of what it looks like on my wrist. Alright, guys, so this is what it looks like on my wrist. As I say, I do appreciate you're not going to be wearing it with gloves on. Well, not most of the time, you won't anyway, but this is the way I'm wearing it at the moment. Yeah, quite a few holes. Literally, you can't get any more holes on there to make it tighter, to make it any, yeah, and then lots of holes to make it looser. So the thing is going to fit at most wrist sizes at this point. Do excuse the gloves. I have purchased newer ones. They're not going to look like my Sunday best moving forward, so do not worry about that. But there we go. Okay, so guys and girls, that would now take me on to what I think is pants and pucker about the watch. If you've ever watched before, you know I always start with pants. I like to kind of high with pucker. So what I think is pants about the watch is, I think there's a lot of watch for the price. There's no getting away from it. £60, you could probably get it cheaper with coupons and stuff. But I have to mention the lack of AR coating. It is horrific to try and record, take pictures of. Yeah, not ideal. Lack of AR coating, and also the legibility that goes with that. So I'm going to mention both on this occasion just because they go hand in hand, but it does make it difficult at times to see it. But the AR coating would make a huge difference to that. And you know what, I will say the hands, I think if they were high polished against that backdrop, I think it again would make it easier. So I'll also say the hands. So three things. I'll say lack of AR coating, legibility, and the hands in terms of not being high polished. What I think is pucker is sapphire crystal. Although it hasn't got AR coating, I appreciate sapphire crystal at this sort of price point. The loom, the loom was a huge surprise given the previous watch I received. The loom was not very good. The bezel, again, massive improvement on the previous bezel I had from Tandorio. So I felt very remiss of me not to mention it. Nice coin edging on there, helps with the grip. Also, the movement, Seiko NH35 movement. I know I used to harp on quite a lot before about ghost positions and the like, but the fact they put a sort of Seiko movement in a watch below £100, and you probably get this close to half of that. Yeah, I think the movement's got to be mentioned. I think the finishing's good in terms of the brushing to the polished surfaces, the transitions in terms of what they've done on the case, polished elements against brushed. The brushing's done nicely, as you'll be able to make out on camera. Consistent with the brushing, longitudinal brushing on the side, it looks good. And the price, guys, I picked this up for £60. If you can get it for that or below, I think you're winning. There's no watch on AliExpress that looks like this in terms of the watch they're homaging for those sort of prices. So yeah, they're the things I mentioned for pucker. So just to surmise, I'll go with the sapphire crystal, loom, bezel, movement, finishing, and the price of the watch. And guys and girls, would I recommend this watch? I would, to be honest. I still think, given the fact that you get this for a sort of half or a third of the price of other watches that look like this, with very, very similar aesthetics and stuff, I think it's hard not to. I think the AR coating at this point is really hurting it. The hands and legibility wouldn't be an issue if it had AR coating. So that is the main issue, to be honest. But I think generally, for the aesthetic and for the price, I think it's a must. But guys and girls, please let me know what you think about this watch, more importantly. And maybe any other watches you may want to see on the channel. And as always say, don't forget to like, subscribe, and always watch your time. Take care, guys. All the very best.